Hello and welcome to the first Factory Talk of 2021. It's really good to be with you. We're coming to you under strict lockdown conditions this week, but we've got a cracking guest to start the new year. I'm delighted to say we're joined by Gordon Murray, the head of the Gordon Murray Group. It's good to see you, Gordon. Thank you very much indeed for being on Factory Talk. Let's start with an introduction. Tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about your company.
Right, well, I've been in automotive for over 50 years, and I started in Formula One in 1970, and I was 20 years in Formula One, primarily with Brabham Formula One team, and then for the last 3 years with McLaren. I had 5 world championships in that period, and then I really wanted, I thought 20 years in Formula One was enough, and I wanted out, really, and luckily for me, McLaren wanted to expand the group at the end of the 80s. So I walked into an empty building in 1990 and started an automotive business for McLaren. It was then McLaren Cars, and now, of course, is McLaren Automotive. And I spent about 17 years in that business, during which time we did the McLaren F1, the sports car, which went on to win Le Mans, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But then during that time, I started getting interested in doing some green technology, making cars a different way using structural composites. I've been in composites since the sort of mid-70s, really, interested in composites. And the McLaren group really weren't that interested in normal road cars. They wanted to carry on doing just the hypercars and the supercars. So I left and started a new business in 2007. That was Gordon Murray Design, and that was to do this green technology, which we call iStream. And we've been there in Shelford for that period of time, and that was Gordon Murray Design. Subsequently, we've started Gordon Murray Automotive, which is a car business, making and selling cars. But very high-end exclusive cars, and we're about to start an electronics company as well. So even as we speak, the group is expanding.
It's a fascinating career. Did you study engineering, manufacture, car design before you started working in it?
Yes, I did actually. I was born in South Africa, and I went to. My folks didn't have much money. We were pretty working class, and so I didn't go to university, but I went to technical college. And I did a university syllabus with a sandwich course over 5 years. So that was the academic side, if you like. But during that 5-year period, I wanted to go motor racing, be a racing driver. And the only way I could afford to do a car was to design my own car and my own engine. So when I was 19, I did my own car and engine and went racing in South Africa. And then at the end of the 60s, it come to the end of what I thought I could achieve out there. So jumped on a cargo boat and came over to the UK. And then, as I said, from 1970, I was lucky enough to get a job in Formula One.
It's fascinating. I'd love to talk about that more, but let's move on. I mean, we're talking at a particularly exciting time because the new headquarters, the new technology centre, construction should be, if not underway now, getting underway fairly soon. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that's an exciting one, and it's really good that it's a good news story with what the automotive industry is going through at the moment. So we're currently at Shelford in Surrey, and we're spread over 3 buildings there, all leasehold. And we've expanded to Dunsfold Park, which is just down the road, and we have 3 buildings there now too. And in my experience, once you get a little scattered like that, the communication starts breaking down, and I'm really keen to get everybody back together under one roof. So in February last year, we bought a freehold site, 54 acres in Windlesham, Surrey, not too far from where we are, about half an hour away. And I've been designing the buildings for the last couple of years. So it'll be headquarters, manufacturing, and R&D, of course. And it's a beautiful site, and we're building the HQ there, and total I think it's about 130,000 square feet. We're in for planning. We get our planning reviewed next week actually, and if we get that planning through, and hopefully we will, we start digging up the ground this summer.
I'm interested to hear you say you design the buildings. I expect you to have some input as it's your company, but you're actually involved in the design of the buildings as well.
Yes, I mean obviously we use an architect's practice to do all the detailed drawings and stuff, but certainly the flow of information through the building, which is how you start designing any building, even if it's a kitchen in your own home. It's about the workflow and the access to various elements in the room or the building. So I started doing that a couple of years ago with the perfect layout for our sort of business, and that leads on to the detailed design of the space and the rooms, and of course the look of the building is very important, as we're on an 18th century park. So the building has to really integrate into that parkland. So I've been involved not just with the aesthetics, but mainly with the layout and the flow and the way the building works. That's what I'm really interested in, and it's virtually the same as designing a car. You know, there's ergonomics involved, there's materials involved. It's a sort of a state of mind. Once you're a designer, you should be able to design virtually anything.
And have you been able to incorporate particularly environmental concerns when this new building was being designed?
Oh, certainly, yes. I mean, we're in the green tech business with Gordon Murray Design, so it naturally flows that if we're going to have our global headquarters, they need to be very efficient and green as well. So that's been a consideration right from the beginning. And I recently built a house in Scotland on the west coast, Torridon Mountains, and that makes all its own energy. So I'm very interested in that sort of technology, and of course, this is going to be our HQ for some time. So it has to be an efficient building.
Yeah, let's talk about then the green technology in the cars, in the auto business. From what you said, that's something that's been a passion of yours for a long time. Tell us about how you first realised that that was the future for the auto industry, for the sort of supercars that you're involved with as well, and where you see it going, and how you've been able to include that in your cars.
Well, I suppose that really starts back in Formula One, because Formula One's all about lightweighting. Uh, you've got to have the lightest, most powerful car, and the best handling car to win before you can win a Grand Prix. And lightweight's been a big part of my life, lightweight design, particularly in the automotive sector. And cars have just got heavier and bigger. Every new car that comes out is heavier and bigger, and we're on this horrible downward spiral. So what we call iStream, which is our green tech, uses recycled composites to construct cars that are stronger and lighter, but most importantly use 60% less energy to manufacture than a typical road car.
Why do you think people have been drawn to bigger, heavier cars? I would have thought the thinking now is all for economy, or have we now turned that corner? I mean, people always want a bargain and want to spend less on petrol if they can.
Yeah, I think it is just it's market driven, unfortunately. We did start lightweighting a decade or so ago, a couple of decades actually, and then it's sort of all gone out the window again. People want the luxury and the image, and it's got to stop though. I mean, it'll have to stop. The next big sort of boundary in automotive design will be lightweighting. And that's really what we're focusing on. So yeah, we do work with electric powertrains, obviously, and we work with hybrids. The last car we launched, in fact, was last February. We launched a single-person pod, an autonomous pod, an electric car that drives itself, which was fun. And before lockdown, our company, Gordon Murray Design, was working on 5 global projects with iStream, with major manufacturers and startup companies, and of course that all stopped with the lockdown.
Do you get resistance, though, consumer resistance against the thought of basically being sat in a pod that drives itself, controls itself? I mean, it's a bit of a leap, isn't it, to jump in one of those?
Yeah, I think it's. We were working with a partner in California, and it was their concept, and we did all the engineering and design for them and built the car. it's a great little thing, but I think I agree. I think autonomous driving is a long, long way away. The technology's here already, but it's the public acceptance of it, as you say, and also the liability. That's going to be a big thing with autonomous cars. However, we've designed a car so we can do a driven version as well. So it'll be last mile or inner city transport for a single person.
Gordon, let's, for the moment, instead of looking to the future, look to the past, because one of the important facets that's going to be part of the new headquarters is the Heritage Centre. Tell us what sort of things are going to be in there.
Well, that's important for us because we sell on our brand, of course, and we have a pretty rich history of success in racing and with innovation and technology, and we've produced loads of cars over the years. I think my number of designs sits at around 85 at the moment, 85 vehicles. So we're not a typical car company. We're not chasing volume like most car companies, volume and growth like most car companies do. We're much more of a mixture of an innovative engineering company and like a luxury brand, really. And this is the car company, not Gordon Murray Design. This is Gordon Murray Automotive. So it's important that we show people where we come from. And it's important that we display the steps we've made in innovation. So we've kept a lot of the vehicles, and we own a lot of the vehicles, going back decades, actually. And they'll all be on display for not just for customers, but we hope to open it to schools, universities, and possibly even the public as well. So the Heritage Centre is a really important part of the new HQ.
And I suppose that's important as well when you're trying to attract people into the business. I mean, you're growing, you're looking to attract, I think, around about 100 new people. How are you going to bring these sort of people and make sure you get the right sort of people into the business?
Yeah, well, it's not easy in automotive. It should be, because it's a really interesting job, and there are many interesting jobs in automotive, but it does seem to be a bit of a struggle. How we do it at the moment is we run apprenticeship schemes, a couple a year, and we do a couple of graduate schemes a year as well. And it's still difficult, even with that, when we're a small business and that's all we can manage. But moving forward, we have a plan to do a technical college or academy at Windlesham on site. And I've got my business shares in a charitable trust, and that's going towards building a college. And we hope that will be a feeder college for the business. And even we get a small percentage of retention, we'll have people running through the business as part of the syllabus, and hopefully feeding the industry. And it's something that's been really dear to my heart.
Do you find it's easy to attract people from overseas to work for you?
Yeah, we've got a pretty multicultural mob, actually, for quite a small business. We've got people from all over the world working for us. We did used to get a lot of people from Europe, but after Brexit was announced, that dried up instantly. And we're now finding people coming back from Europe, so that's really good. But I think going forward, we just need to spread the word a bit that the automotive industry is really interesting, and it's not just all about design and engineering. There's all sorts of interesting jobs in the automotive sector, and we're hoping to play our part in spreading the word.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a mystery to me. I mean, they're good jobs. They are really interesting jobs, and a lot of them are very well paid jobs. Do you think government could play a bigger part in getting people involved, or is it down to the business itself?
No, government certainly can, and they do. They do help in some areas. I've sat on the Automotive Council, which advises the government, for more than 10 years now, and that's always high on the agenda, is education and bringing people into the business and bringing the next generation along. That's something we talk about regularly. And the government do have some schemes, but I'd like to work a lot more closely with the government, actually, on specific areas.
Finally, let's look forward then. Finish off by looking forward, Gordon. the completion date is set for 2024. What would you like to see happen over the next 3 years? Obviously, an end to COVID would be one of those things. But what would you like business to do? What would you like the government to do? And what do you yourself intend to do moving forward?
Well, I think we've got a very exciting 3 years. We've got a product and platform strategy which runs forward to 2030 for Gordon Murray Automotive. Once COVID is once we're over the worst, we hope that Gordon Murray Design will pick up the iStream programs, the green tech programs again, and of course over the next 3 years we've got the build of the HQ. The government, I mean, we need our planning first, and of course we're being reviewed this month. So some government pressure there would be handy. But going forward with the green tech side of it, we have worked very closely with government agencies in the past with partial grants, and we've had a lot of help on developing the green technologies from these government agencies, and that's all worked really well in the past. And I know it's all been a bit of a mess, and we've got to sort out the borrowing and the spend and everything. But when everything settles down again, I hope the government will pick up those incentive schemes once more, because they really did work. Not just with us, of course, with lots of small businesses and technical businesses in the UK. They went a long way to getting us on our feet with the green tech stuff.
And finally, 50 years you've been in the business. Do you still remain as excited by it as you were when you first got involved in Formula One back in the 70s?
I do, actually. I think the work we're doing now, particularly the green technology work, is the most exciting thing I've done, because, you know, Formula One's fine. It's a sport. It's a spectator sport. It pushes technology a bit, but it's basically something for people to watch. Whereas what we're doing now can affect, you know, hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, with this green technology. So it's, in a way, it's much more exciting, and I've never been more excited. I can't wait to start work every morning.
What a brilliant way to finish. Gordon, it's great to start 2021 with a real good news story. Thank you very much for being on the first Factory Talk of the new year. Thank you indeed. That's it for this week. We'll see you again with another Factory Talk soon. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.